This episode of Kind of Funny Gamescast is brought to you by Movement Watches. That's, MVMT watches. It was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. The watchmaker's goal is to change the way consumers think about fashion by offering high-quality, minimalist products at revolutionary prices. We got ours. They're legit. One, Kevin Coelho, says that his is sexy as hell, and it fits really well. Those are paraphrased quotes, but it kind of gets the spirit across. The company started by two broke college kids that wanted to wear stylish watches but couldn't afford them, so they started their own watch company. Kind of sounds like when we left IGN to do our own thing because, we wanted to do our own thing. I respect that. Movement Watches starts at just $95. At a department store, you're looking at hundreds of dollars. Movement figured out that by selling online, they're able to cut out the middleman and retail markup, providing the best possible price. We're talking classic designs, quality construction, style minimalism. Over 500,000 watches have been sold in over 160 countries. Here's the deal. You can get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmtwatches.com/kinda. The watch is a really clean design. Seriously, Kevin's been getting compliments. Everybody's loving him. Now's the time to step up your watch game. Go to mvmtwatches.com/kinda. Join the movement. That's a tagline I like a lot. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 92 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller.
It's good to be here.
How you guys doing?
Well, thank you.
I'm good.
Good. Me and you went to Twitter today, Greg?
We did.
That was fun.
Met the new czar of Twitter gaming.
Uh-huh.
Seems like a nice guy.
He is a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Rod.
He was a good guy.
Who
Rod
didn't
was
die.
a good guy.
Rod didn't die. He just went somewhere else.
Yeah, Rod was great. But this new guy, I like him. Twitter
Dennis.
gaming, going places.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you been playing recently?
Tetris. Lots of
A lot of-
Sparkade Tetris.
You're addicted.
Over 450 of you sent me Sparkade friend requests. Thank you very much for continuing the addiction I have to the Tetris and Sparkade. I've taken a lot of money from all of you, and I appreciate that. And I want you to keep bringing all your money at me. I'm up $20 on Sparkade.
Is that it? After all of this, you're up $20.
Well, a lot of kids don't play. I mean, you can play it for free. So the majority of our fans just play it for free. Only the wily ones, like your Joey Noels, come out here and actually put money down.
She's coming
and
at
then
you?
get smoked.
How's that going with the rivalry between the two of you?
Now it's all screwed up. Because one of the downsides of Sparkade is that they can put all in your friends tab is all your friend requests and then the people challenging you to games. So I currently have 430 friend requests bearing all the games I need to do. But I found last night that if I sit there and just spam like this, it'll go through and catalog them a little bit faster. But I'm working on some Greg Miller trickery to get through there and do that. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. Last night I played Batman Episode 3. Very good ending. They continue to manipulate the Batman story and what you think you're going to get. It's very, very interesting. I like what they're doing.
With the three of them, what's your kind of take on it, on each one?
Number one was very, I think, not by the numbers, but it was, okay, this feels like a normal Batman game. This feels like a normal Batman story. And then in the end, there's like this revelation of like, oh, is that really what it's going to be? Or is it going to be a cliffhanger where we come back and they undo that immediately? They didn't undo it. Episode 2 continues then to spread it out and get really interesting with the lore, really change it up to some stuff we haven't seen before in a Batman narrative. And then episode 3 continues on that and again ends in a very, very interesting spot. The twist ending here, I didn't see coming. It leaves me a lot. Episode 1 ended and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm interested to see where it ends. Episode 2 ended and I was like, fuck, I can't wait to play episode 3. And episode 3 ended and I'm like, I can't wait for episode 4.
That's awesome.
Because it's putting it in such a different where we haven't played Batman before when we've played a Batman game before. And then also Titanfall. I got Titanfall 2. Was excited to jump into multiplayer. Servers aren't live yet. I was hoping I could jump on with some of the reviewers or people who are still playing. I guess that's come and gone already, that window. So now I'm just waiting until Friday when it's out for everybody and I can play on servers there. But I played single player for a while and I was a bit disappointed. We've talked about it a million times. I'm not first-person shooter guy. I'm usually not shooter narrative guy. And then when we talk about shooter, I mean, like for me, Titanfall has always been the weird one. Titanfall 1 especially, where I was drawn to the multiplayer, really enjoyed it, put a month and a half into it, don't listen to Colin, and had a great time. Regened, as they say. But had a really, like that actually a draw to me and what I liked about it. So I was like, okay, single player, this will keep me going and blah, blah, blah. And I jumped in and it's just not, didn't click for me. I played a couple hours last night. I'll get back to it, I'm sure, this weekend, waiting for the servers to go live. But once servers go live, that's really where it's at for me.
Yeah. We had a review over at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames by one Alfredo Plays.
Yeah.
You should check that out.
And he had come, when I talked to him more about it, like through text when he was working on it, he was saying, like, yeah, I don't know if single player is that great. But then all the other reviews were like, this single player is awesome. And that's why I'm not ready just to be done with it. It is this interesting mix of, you are this guy, you get bonded to your Titan early, you're not supposed to have this Titan, now you do. And like there's this interesting like dialogue choice in it where you're playing, you get to pick how the guy responds or what questions he'll ask. And the interaction is funny. The robot, of course, very robotic, right? Answering the questions very literally, doing all these different things. So there's some chances for fun stuff there. But it is this interesting mix of like, everybody, when Titanfall originally came out, they were like, oh man, a single player campaign would have been great. You jump into this one, and it's interesting to see how they break you apart from the Titan, put you back together. There's bosses that are in their Titans that you need to go. The other Titans, people show up in their Titans, are talking shit to you through your comms. You're eavesdropping on their conversations. It's very interesting, but it's beautiful. Like the thing about it is, it's beautiful. It's running really, really well on PlayStation 4. The wall running is as fun as I remember. The shotgun is as good as I remember. It looks so crisp and clear. I can't wait to get into multiplayer and have that challenge. And I want to, play more of the single player campaign to see if it turns that corner. Because I was looking through trophies, and a lot of the trophies seem to be single player oriented, which surprised me. I was expecting to be the opposite, where I'd play through. A lot are hidden, but it seems like the majority are single player.
Huh, very cool.
Yeah.
I got to do a Let's Play of Sonic Mania. That's now
also up on
the
youtube.com/kindoffunnygames.
And my God, that game, it's everything I could ever want. I was talking to you about this on our drive over here, but it reminds me a lot of Mega Man 9 and 10 in the way that they seem to be nailing it. Like
Don't say that.
No, in terms of like what it did is for the franchise. Like, this isn't Sonic 4. This isn't Sonic 4 Episode 2.
Yeah.
It seems like it's made by people that really, really, really care about nailing the aesthetic, the feel, the level design, everything about what made the other ones so great. So I'm super stoked about it. It was a lot of fun. It felt perfect playing. We got to debut the exclusive news of Tails and Knuckles. Well, we knew they were going to be playable. It was the first time we ever seen them playable for Tails and Knuckles, and there was a new stage. And you should definitely check it out if you like Sonic at all. It's like they're nailing it. Like this is going to be the best Sonic game I think that will ever happen again. Like this is it. This is their last hurrah, and then other things will happen after that. But I had a lot of fun with it.
When's it out?
Check it out. Spring 2017.
Okay.
Right now they're talking about PS4, Xbox One, and PC. But I'd be shocked if it doesn't end up on that there Switch.
That Switch ball coming at you.
Yeah.
That's a new thing because you can't throw up the X.
I love it. This is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every week we get together to talk about video games and all the things we love about them. You can get it early on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, or you can get it late on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Either way, I love you a lot. You're a really cool person. You do a lot of cool things. Just like Steven Insler, once again, producer of this show. Shout out to you, my friend. You are doing God's work. Speaking of God's work, Colin, Civilization 6.
Yes. Just real quick before we get into that, we have a Sparkade sponsorship coming up. So
Right.
I just want everyone to know that.
No, we talked about that in the last Gamescast with Greg. Because Greg, of course, Sparkade. We're doing a sponsorship event / Let's Play in December. It looks like there'll be details about it. But good call.
So just to be
Colin,
perfectly transparent about
Of course.
that. Also, shout out to Battlefield 1. Still playing it. It's still pretty early, but the game's really great. Also playing World of Final Fantasy, although I don't have any thoughts on it as of yet. I think it's a little obtuse. I'm surprised it's for children, to be perfectly honest. So Civilization 6. I played Civilization 6 for 5-6 hours so far. Would have played much more, but my laptop, I use a really kind of beefy Origin laptop. We all have them. Ran Civilization 5 perfectly at highest settings. I have it set on medium settings for Civilization 6, and the computer runs really, really hot. So like I'm actually afraid to play it for more than about 90 minutes at a time because the computer, I've never felt the computer this hot in my life.
Are you leaving on your balls?
Well, I like to leave it on my lap. And then I was playing it kind of like holding it like a book almost, with my left hand and using the mouse with my right hand, like lying down on the couch. It's just not ideal. So I probably would have played 2 or 3 times more than that, but it's just not really working out for me because that was the way I played Civ 5, which was just incessantly. So early impressions of Civilization 6 are very positive. I think the game is excellent. I mean, I didn't expect anything more from that than that. And people have to remember, Charles Agnette, who we used to work with at IGN, is the one who introduced me to Civilization. He was the PC editor there, and he works at Apple now. And he was like, I know you don't like PC games and stuff, and you'd really like this game. And so I gave it a go before Civilization 5 even came out, and I fell in love with it. So that was really my entrance. I was familiar with the Civilization series. Civ 4 especially, I know is a lot of people's favorites. But That was a game I spent. I don't think in the last 5 years I played a game more hour-wise than Civ 5. I don't think it's even close. So I've played Civ 6 many times less in terms of fewer hours than Civ 5. But the game is familiar. I like some of the additions that they've made, specifically creating wonders and other kind of things for your cities, or for your capital cities and then your ancillary cities that require blocks of land. So in other words, you'd have your city, it could be your capital, it could have a massive population, lots of production, giving you science and all sorts of things, culture, but it's on one block. It didn't really make any sense. And so they've kind of spread that around a little bit to give it more of like a sprawl, the city. So I went and built like these hanging gardens. The hanging gardens, if they're built, for people that don't know, I mean, this is going to be so nerdy for people that don't even know Civilization, but there are things called wonders that you can build. You have to basically get to them first. So like one civilization might be able to build a pyramid. This is like very good for, it could be good for their culture or their religion or whatever. The hanging gardens, I don't remember what they did, but I remember I needed a block near a river in order to have them. And like, then I had to like raise a farm that I had there in order to make room for it, which wouldn't have really been necessary in the previous game. So it gets a little more micromanagey in that particular regard. Combat feels familiar. I mean, obviously there are some new wrinkles to combat and to the way units stack and stuff like that. But if you're into combat, and most people that play Civilization you don't have to fight at all in Civilization, of course. But if you do that, you'll find some differences there. I like the idea of the builder in this particular game feels and acts differently. You're basically using a builder not only to get resources, like one-time resources at a particular block, but also to create a farm. Once you do that with the builder, obviously, then the builder then disappears. So you have to continue to create builders and stuff like that. So the map I'm playing on right now, I'm playing on a randomized, obviously, map, small map at normal difficulty, just to get the hang of the game. I'm playing as some African tribe. I don't remember. It was a randomized thing. You can pick, obviously, all sorts of leaders with different benefits and deficits. And, so far, so good. I think it's a really, really, really great game. I don't have in-depth knowledge. I'm in the mid-game, really, so I don't really have in-depth knowledge of the end game. Obviously, you can win in a bunch of different ways, a scientific win, you can have a military victory, etc., and so on. The AI doesn't seem very smart or savvy, but I am playing on a lower difficulty level. And it's kind of cool just to investigate from a Civilization fan, more of a newer Civilization fan's perspective, the different civilizations that you can build and the leaders you can have. So, and kind of their benefits and their deficits or whatever. So I dig it so far. I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I wish that my laptop ran it a little more stably. It runs it stably. I just don't know that a laptop should be as hot as this laptop is getting.
They made for it. It's just how things go.
So, because like we played Battlefield 1 on these laptops at high settings, and it wasn't like that at all. So I feel like it's, Civilization isn't necessarily graphically intensive, although it is in its own way, but it is very processing intensive.
Yeah.
If you're playing on, and I'm playing on a small map, if I'm playing on a global map with a bunch of different continents and a shit ton of different civilizations, every turn that it has to process in the turn-based kind of ecosystem, I mean, I can't imagine how intensive on the processor that is, and I'm scared of what I'm seeing now on this smaller map for my laptop. So hopefully I can figure that problem out and play more of it. But, obviously I recommend it. I think everyone knows that Civilization 6 is going to be great. And the changes that they've made might seem minor to some, and I certainly can't trace the lineage from Civilization 1, 2, 3, and 4 to 6. But from Civilization 5 to Civilization 6, there certainly are big differences. But at the same time, a very familiar game. And what I always said about Civilization 5 was, for as much as I played it, and I'm going to feel the same way about Civ 6, you never really quite know what you're doing in some ways. Like, that's the funny thing about the game, where I'm like, and I've talked to people about this and they share that, where I'm like, the game is so complicated and so complex that you understand what you're doing and, building units, researching science, creating your civics and your religion, and kind of crafting your society. But at the same time, you're quite not really, at least, I'm not really like sure, like, is this really the right thing I'm supposed to be doing right now? I don't really know, should I go for animal husbandry or should I go for pottery? You don't.
These are the choices you have to decide.
These are the hard choices.
One cool thing that I don't think was in Civ 5 that I think is really cool too is that, so you for people that are familiar with Civ, they know you learn your science and all sorts of things, and it takes time. It's all turn based. So like you can say like I want to learn shipbuilding, so it's going to take me 14 turns to learn shipbuilding, which is in the game hundreds of years, and you basically are able to like take those 14 turns, but it will only take 7 turns if you have founded a city on the coast. So like the game will like you have like this big schematic, obviously as civilization games do, of like this science leads to three sciences, which leads to these 9 sciences, and so on and so forth. And you start like branching off, and it'll tell you like it'll take 14 turns unless you do this, or it'll take 10 turns or 30 turns unless you do this thing. Unless you kill 3 barbarian hordes, unless you create a trade route with a neighboring city or something like that. So I like that little thing too, because then it makes you think a little more strategically about how you're investing in science. Because, for instance, I skipped shipbuilding and then actually went out of my way to build a city on the coast so that I would save those turns, and went and researched something more advanced. But again, I play it at a very elementary level, I think, compared to the people that are like really, really, really into Civ 6. And I just saw that a professional esports company of some sort, the first Civ 6 professional player was signed to a contract, which I thought was weird. I'm like, who the fuck is watching this? Civ 6 is like who the hell is possibly watching that stuff? But anyway, those are my early thoughts. I think it's really, really cool.
I have questions.
You go for it.
First off, too, for transparency's sake, we did videos with Civ 6 as well, hosting and interviewing stuff, so everything with a grain of salt. Do you recommend it for noobs, people just jumping in?
It seems no more or less complicated than Civilization 5 in its own way. So yes and no. I mean, I jumped into Civ 5 and I had no idea what the fuck was going on, but I think you'll know pretty quickly if it's for you or not.
Yeah.
Like everyone out there, I think that I was so into the minutia of like create your government, and you can be like kind of religious or kind of like autocratic, but you can't be both, or like you can't, like you can be warfaring, or you can be mercantile, or you can do all sorts of things. Like when I started following, and then it's like the science things, like how you draw from like masonry to building a spaceship, is really cool. And I like the idea of like, depending on how you research, because it's all based on like real themes and real eras. So like you can reach the Renaissance in 800. Literally 400 years, 500 years before the Renaissance began, if you're doing things right, And I loved that. So if you're into that sort of thing, or you could be really late, you could be in like 1900 fighting on horseback, like depending on how things go. So I like that particular thing. So if that kind of thing strikes you, then it's a fine place, I think, to jump in. But if not, then I don't think you should play Civilization at all. I don't think that necessarily this is any different on a core way than 5 was, at least to me. I'm sure the Civilization nerds out there see many more differences than I do, but I don't see that many differences.
Yeah, it's one of those franchises that it seems really daunting, and it is, because like you were saying, like it's super complicated, but it's definitely not my type of franchise. But I played Civ 4 and I got addicted for a while, and I had to cut myself off where I'm just like, I can't. Like, this is gonna be a bad thing if I have to put this much time into this, just because like I was like, it was a point in my life where I'm like, I need to be focusing on school and work and shit then. But for you being so addicted to Civ 5 and putting as many hours as you did, like all these games kind of hit us at different times in our lives. Do you think that you'll put as many hours into Civ 6, or do you think that this is going to be more of kind of like a nice little step back into the world for a little bit just to get a taste and then bounce out?
Remains to be seen. I mean, I think it's like a perfect football game. Like on Sundays, I'll sit on the couch for, like as I will this Sunday, for the entire day from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and watch football. And when Civ 5 came out, that's all I did was sit on the couch and play it. Like I put the mouse on the arm of the couch and just sit there and watch TV or whatever. And it was one of those games where I hadn't had an experience like this in quite some time, where I really did lose track of time. I'm constantly looking at the clock when I'm playing games because I don't want to spend like my entire fucking day playing a video game. But it was one of those things where I just forgot, and then I looked up and it was 2 a.m. or something. I'm like, oh shit, like here we are, So it is one of those games. I agree. It's acutely addictive to people that well, I guess any game can be addictive. I mean, I was addicted to Tetris at one point in my life. Like but it is acutely addictive to people that think the way I think and like the things I like, in terms of, and maybe you felt the same way in terms of like just, it's a game all about gaming the system as best you can. It's like that's really what it is. It's like how much production can you possibly eke out of these people? How much gold can you possibly get a turn to start buying tiles or buying units or just saving it or using it to buy people off? Or can you get into a fight with this other country and then make them pay you reparations for 50 turns?
Yeah.
And then you just have all this money coming in. Or like, are you going to get pincered and attacked? Do you attack the wrong country? And especially if you're running on higher difficulty levels, and then you get fucked. You're not paying attention to the other side of the map. You might not even really know what's going on the other side of the map. You notice that these guys have an air force and it's 1,700. How the fuck is that possible? And they can just level you, So, and the chase for the bomb, or the chase for the space, in the space race and getting into space, which is a way to win the game. So I think that it definitely has the makings of that. The thing about Civ 5, I think it came out at a certain time where it has all the same trappings as Civ 6, but it also came out at a time, as far as I recall, where there wasn't much else I wanted to play. The unfortunate thing for Civ 6 is that there's plenty of other games I want to play right now. So I think it's going to be one of those games similar to Civ 5 where I don't even remember, like, I use Steam so seldom that I think I've downloaded Civilization and I think I bought it like 3 different times. Because I'm like, I don't even remember I don't even know what the fuck email address is attached to. I have no idea. I'll just go make a new Steam account and buy the game again. So like the old game probably had 40 hours and then the next one had 20 hours. Then the new one, I bought it and I got the expansion and all sorts of things like that. It just speaks to me in a very specific way. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm a little smarter now. Now I have my name, so I have, but the only games I was looking at my list, the only games I have are Civilization games. I have like Beyond Earth or whatever. I have Civ 5. I have all the DLC of Civ 6. That's good enough. So I recommend it. I think people that know and like Civ already know about Civ 6. I don't think you need anyone to tell you to buy it. As far as I'm concerned, I think I have more to explore and more to jump into. I think that there's much for me to learn. I like reading about the game a lot too and learning how to play it better, because for as much time as I've put into it, I've not put in as much time into a game and been so ignorant about it at the same time. Like where it's like there really are systems. Like if you can jump into these grids and these spreadsheets and all this shit where I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck any of this is. And they do hide them from me because I don't think anyone knows what they really are. But like you can like go in and like really look at your economy and be like, I don't but managing farms and luxury items, so your people get really fucking upset if you take a capital city or another city from another country, they fucking hate you, and you have to do things to like make them happy, like give them luxury items, give them entertainment.
The wonders are a big part of that too, right? Making them happy in this game. I remember them talking
very
about
cool,
that.
So I think folks out there will like it. And is it a good foray into Civ? I don't see why it's a bad foray into Civ. I don't think there is such a thing as a good foray into Civ. It seems like it's complicated.
Are you going for military victories? Or are you going?
I almost always go for military victories, because for the way I work, it's the way that I understand the most. Like I just don't have the pedigree with this particular game, or maybe even the ability to think deep enough in this particular way to craft. I mean, you can get a scientific victory pretty easily or something like that, but you can win in like weird ways. Like I think there's a way to win religiously. That's fun, but that's like so nuanced. Like I can understand like bludgeoning people with bombs, pretty easily. Of
course you can.
America. but I also try to play. Sometimes I play games totally passively, totally like in a mercantilist kind of like trade way, and just be like, I don't want any problems with anyone, But if someone like fucks with me, then you fucking crush them.
That was one of the cool things from when I was doing the interviews and getting to see the game so long ago. Was like I wanted them always to pick Teddy Roosevelt and go through and beat him, and you were talking about earlier the pros and cons of it. But as you expand out that map, I really like the Fog of War where the map fills in and goes from just being like looking like a normal map to being colorful and you seeing what's happening. But when you run into Cleopatra, like deciding how you talk to her, let alone then also what your stats are already, because she'll look at you differently if you're a military super strong or weak or something like that. The interplay between people and like Gandhi and stuff, that's really interesting.
My dude.
Yeah, like and the cool thing about the game too, I mean, this is diplomacy. It's like Molotov Ribbentrop or whatever that guy's name is, the German Russian agreement, like non-aggression agreement that the Germans just broke and just invaded Russia anyway. Like you can have things like that in this particular game. Molotov Ribbentrop. That's what it is.
You're just saying words.
Mutton chop. They was the short name for it. Basically, the Russians and the Soviets and the Nazis got together in the 30s and were like, we're not going to fuck with each other. And there was even some invitation to have everyone be in the same Axis powers, which obviously Russia ended up being into. And then the Nazis were just like, we're just going to invade anyway. Well, you can do shit like that in the game if you want. Like, you can have open borders and agree to have open borders with someone and just stage troops inside and then just start attacking them. That's not going to work out well for you if they have other allies and stuff, but you can play the game in a very bold way like that if you want. So I think I like it. The game lets you do what you want, and I think it's really cool. And I think what I was disappointed in when I played Civ Rev 2 Plus on Vita was I was like, it's just not deep enough. Like I played it very like for a very cursory kind of way, but I'm like, it's just not deep enough.
It's not Civ.
Yeah, like
Civ is minutia.
Yeah, it's all the little things. Like it's cool to look at the top of the screen and see plus signs with numbers after everything because you're doing really well. You're getting faith, you're getting culture, you're getting money, you're getting all sorts of things, prestige, but I don't know. But there's also much to learn. For as much as I play Civ, I also read. I'll go jump into the forums, and I don't have an account there, but I read. I'm like
lurking,
just because like there are people that really know how to play this game.
Oh yeah,
and I don't after all these scores of hours basically with it. So, but nonetheless, it was really cool. It snuck up on me too. 2K didn't make the game available early to a lot of people, and so. It was just floating out there. Like, and then the code just popped in my inbox. I was like, fucking A, man. Like, here it is.
It's time.
It's fantastic. You know, so.
There you go.